Yesterday, we talked about adding 3 and 4 digit numbers. So today, naturally, we're going to talk about subtracting 3 and 4 digit numbers. So please flip over your notes if you haven't already. And we have our smiley subtraction because we're having fun today with our subtraction. So we got our smiley subtraction guy up here in the right corner. And now we're going to go over the rules for subtracting numbers. So where do we start when we're subtracting numbers? Raise your hand if you know. Alba? Excellent. Just like with addition, in the ones place. Write that down, please, in the box on the top there. We start in the ones place. When you're subtracting, though, how do you know when you need to regroup? When you're subtracting, how do you know? Quinn?
When the top number is smaller than the bottom.
Excellent. Quinn said when the top number was smaller than the bottom. That's a great way to say it. We could also write it two other ways. This, you don't have to write this down yet. This is another way of saying what Quinn said. The digit being subtracted is greater than the digit it's being subtracted from. Or the fun way I like to say it with me, more on the floor, go next door. So go ahead and write down the blue in the box. Write down more on the floor, go next door. And there's actually even an add-on to this phrase that I learned, more on the floor, go next door. And does anybody know the last part? Borrow 10 more. I like that too because that way I always remember that I'm taking 10 from the number before it. So let's go ahead and read this equation like the true mathematicians we are. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 4,612 minus 2,563. That sounded beautiful. First thing we're going to do is make our estimate. Who could remind us why we do the estimate step? Elizabeth, could you remind us why we do the estimate? Exactly, to see if our answer makes sense. So we're going to take this top number and round it to a number that's really easy to work with. You know what? This time, maybe I want to try close to estimation. So instead of 4,612, is that pretty close to 4,500? Yeah, pretty close. And then 2,563, is that pretty close to 2,500? Yeah, actually that's really close, right? How many away is it? It's only 63 away. So now, are those numbers pretty easy for me to do in my head? Yeah, I'm like, okay, 500 minus 500, those are going to cancel out. So I'm really just doing 4,000 minus 2,000, which is, call it out, 2,000. Good job. I forgot my equal sign. So I have my estimate. And if you want to draw your little, that's what you were thinking in your head bubble around it, go for it. Now we're going to get ready to subtract. Where do we start, Bridget? Excellent, the ones. We're going to say this together. I'll be saying it on the board so that it gets picked up in the mic. 2 minus 3. Can we do it? No. So we have to, more on the floor, go next door, borrow 10 more. The 1 becomes a 0. Now this 2 becomes a 12. Good, because we got 10 more. 12 minus 3 is 9. 0 minus 6. Can we do it? Nope. More on the floor. Go next door. Borrow 10 more. This 6 becomes a 5. And this 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 equals 4. 5 minus 5. Can we do it? 5 minus 5, 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. And I'll go back 1, 2, 3, comma. And my final answer, read it with me, 2,049. Now for my most important step, Think, does my answer make sense? As Elizabeth said, we check if it's close to our estimate to make sure it makes sense. And is 2049 pretty close to 2000? Yeah, awesome. In fact, how many away is it? It's only 49 away, so we know our answer makes sense. Please take out your math journal. I should have had you do that earlier. Please take out your math journal. We're going to do one more together, and then I'll stop and take any questions you might have. Open up your math journal to page 21 and circle problem number 3. We're going to do this one together. Page 21, circle problem number 3. And the reason we're doing this one together is it has a lot of zeros in the first problem. Math journal on your desk. Circle problem number 3 if you haven't already. Good job. Oh, does it? Good. So that'll be a good challenge for you. Because when we have a 0 in our number that we are subtracting from, you know you're going to have to do some borrowing or regrouping, as we like to say. So problem number 3, let's read it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 600 minus 379. Oh, what did I forget to do before I started working that I always am telling you that you need to do every time? Emily? The estimate. We're going to get there, but did I RTD? Read the directions. Let's go back. It says, make an estimate. That's what Emily was just telling us. Write a number model to show your thinking. Try to solve each problem using U.S. traditional subtraction. That's what the method we just practiced. And then compare your answer to your estimate and see whether your answer makes sense. How many parts, hold up on your fingers, how many parts do you think these directions have? How many parts? Alba? I'd say it's a 3-parter, like you said, right? Because you have to make your estimate and write a number model to show it. Then step 2, you have to try to solve the problem. And then step 3, compare to your estimate. Okay, so write those in the directions. It's page 21. Write those in the directions, the 1, 2, and 3. So we know we have to do all those steps. So now Emily was right. We're going to start with our estimate. So we are going to take 600. Is that a friendly number to work with? Yeah, keep it 600 minus 379. What would we want to round that to make it really friendly? Remember, I talked a lot about rounding to the greatest place value to make it really friendly. Luciana, 379 could become, I like it, 400. Oops, sorry, my pen's not totally cooperating, but you get the idea. And that equals 200. I got my estimate and I have my number model. So I did step 1. Okay, now I'm going to get ready to solve. We'll take questions after. 600 minus 400 equals 200. You got it. We're doing subtraction. So it's really important to pay attention to your operation. Okay, which place value do I start in, everybody? The ones. 0 minus 9. Can we do it? Nope. More on the 4. Go next door. Wait a second. I got over to my next door neighbor, and it's still a 0. It's like, there's nothing for you here. You need to keep walking. Go down the block. Go to your other neighbor and get some more. So I go next door again. Phew! I reached a 6. I'm going to borrow from the 6 and make it a 5. Then I make this number next to it a 10. A 10 just for a second. He's a 10 just for a second because we need to borrow from him too and make him a 9. And now this number can become a 10. 10 minus 9 equals 1. 9 minus 7 equals 2. 5 minus 3 equals 2. So I got 221. And now I did step 2. Now step 3, compare, or the most important step I like to say, think, does my answer make sense? 221 is pretty close to 200, so I know I did it correctly. So be careful when you have those zeros to make sure that you're borrowing correctly. I'm going to stop the video there.